A police officer can ask one friendly question and get you to hand over the very thing that hurts you. And if you answer it the wrong way, you may talk yourself from a simple stop into a much bigger problem. Quick question before we continue. Are you subscribed? Because what I'm about to reveal could keep you from saying the one sentence that ruins your whole night. Hit that button now. Here are the 4 words. I don't answer questions. That's it. 4 words. Short, calm, clear. Now, let me say this right away. These 4 words are not magic. They do not let you ignore the law. They do not let you refuse your driver's license. They do not let you fight with police on the side of the road. What they do is simple. They stop you from volunteering extra information when an officer asks an open-ended question like, is there anything I should know? And that question matters more than most people think. Because it sounds polite. It sounds harmless. It sounds like small talk. But very often, it is a test, a fishing question, a wide open door. The officer is giving you room to start talking. And once you start talking, most people do not stop. They explain, they joke, they confess to things nobody even asked about, they try to sound honest. And that is where trouble starts. Here's what just happened in that moment. You got pulled over, your heart is pounding, your brain is moving fast. You want the officer to see you as a good person. So when he says, is there anything I should know? You feel pressure to fill the silence. Maybe you say, well, I do have my gun in the center console, but I have a permit. Or nothing major, I'm just coming back from my buddy's place. Or even worse, I had 1 drink, but I'm totally fine. Do you see the problem? The officer did not ask all of that. You gave it away. Most people think talking more makes them look safer. But the truth is, talking more usually gives police more pieces to work with. Let me break this down for you. If you are in a traffic stop, the officer can usually ask for basic documents. That means your license, registration, and proof of insurance. In some places, if you are carrying a firearm, state law may also require you to tell the officer right away, or tell the officer if asked directly. That part depends on where you are. So your first job is to know your own state law in any state you travel through. But here's the crazy part. Outside of basic required information, a lot of the extra questions are not there to help you. They are there to get more information. Where are you coming from? Where are you headed? Do you have anything in the car I should know about? Any weapons? Any drugs? You don't mind if I take a look, right? Each question may sound casual, but each one can move the stop in a new direction. Here's a hypothetical example to explain this. Imagine you're driving home late. You get stopped for a broken taillight. That is annoying, but small. The officer walks up and asks, is there anything I should know? You panic a little and say, well, I've got my pistol in the glove box, my friend left his bag in the back seat, and I'm in a hurry because I'm late. Now the stop is no longer just about a taillight. You have introduced a firearm, a bag that may not be yours, and nervous behavior. Even if everything is legal, you just made the stop more complicated. And here's what most people get wrong. They think silence makes them look guilty, but silence is a right. Calm silence is not a crime. Being respectful while refusing to answer questions is not the same as being rude. The key is how you do it. Not with attitude, not with anger, not with sudden movements, not with sarcasm, just calm voice, hands visible, simple words. Officer, I don't answer questions. Then stop talking. If you're finding this helpful, imagine what you'll learn in my next video about the 5 words that can stop you from agreeing to a search you never wanted. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Saying I don't answer questions is only step 1. The second part is knowing what still matters after you say it. Because some of you are thinking, okay, great, I'll just say that and stay silent. Not so fast. You still need to act smart. First, keep your hands where the officer can see them. If you are in a car, put them on the wheel. At night, turn on the dome light if it feels safe to do so. Do not reach toward a pocket, glove box, center console, or waistband without clear instructions. If there's a firearm in the car, random reaching is one of the worst things you can do. Second, give required documents when asked. If your license is near your firearm, do not reach for it fast. Tell the officer where it is and ask how he wants you to proceed. Third, do not lie. This is huge. A lot of people here don't answer questions and think the next move is making up a story. No, bad idea. If you choose to speak, lying can make things worse. If you choose not to speak, then don't speak, but do not invent facts. Fourth, understand the gun law piece. This is the part nobody's talking about enough. In some states, there's no general duty to immediately tell an officer you're carrying. In other states, there is. And in some places, the rule changes depending on whether you have a permit, whether the gun is concealed, or whether the officer asks directly. That means your 4 words do not cancel a state disclosure law. If your state says you must inform, then you must inform. Period. So let's make this practical. If your state requires immediate disclosure, your response needs to include that required information. Something like, "Officer, I need to let you know I am lawfully carrying. How would you like me to proceed?" Then, after that, when the fishing questions start, you can still say, "I don't answer questions." If your state requires disclosure only when asked about weapons, then answer that direct legal question truthfully and briefly, not with a whole life story, not with nervous rambling, short and clear. And if your state has no duty to inform, you still need to be smart. Why? Because an officer may still ask direct questions, give commands, or notice the firearm another way. The goal is not to play games. The goal is safety and self-protection. Now, quick legal note. This is educational information, not legal advice. Always consult an attorney for your specific situation. Let me explain why this matters so much for gun owners. Gun owners often feel a strong need to prove they are the good guy. That instinct is understandable. You want to show you are responsible, so you over-explain. You say, "Yes, sir, I carry all the time. I train every month. I have a permit. It's loaded but safe. I was just moving it because..." Stop right there. Every extra word creates more chances for confusion. The officer may hear loaded. He may hear moving it. He may hear permit and wonder if it is valid in that state. He may hear nervous speech and think something else is wrong. But wait, there's something even more important. Sometimes the danger is not the gun itself. It is the follow-up question. Why do you have it there? Whose gun is it? Have you been drinking? Any reason I should be concerned? You mind if I secure it? You mind if I check the vehicle? That is when people crack. They think cooperation means saying yes to everything. It does not. You can comply with lawful orders and still protect your rights. So if the officer asks, "You don't mind if I search, right?" Your answer should not be a nervous laugh. Your answer should be calm and simple. "I do not consent to searches." That is different from "I don't answer questions." But the idea is the same. Short, respectful, firm. Hey, 73% of people watching right now aren't subscribed. Don't be part of that group. Join the gun owners who get these updates first and click subscribe right now. Let's go deeper, because this is where most people make the big mistake. They think the roadside is the place to argue law. It is not. The side of the road is not a courtroom. It is not a debate stage. It is not the place to prove the officer is wrong. If the officer says, "Step out of the car," and that is a lawful command, step out. If the officer says, "Keep your hands there," keep them there. If the officer secures the scene first and sorts things out later, do not turn that moment into a showdown. Your goal is to get through the encounter safely and say as little as possible. Here's a hypothetical example. Imagine you're carrying under your state's permit law. You get stopped for speeding. The officer asks, "Is there anything I should know?" You answer, "I don't answer questions." He then asks for your license and registration. You comply. Then he asks, "Are there any weapons in the car?" If your state requires disclosure when asked, or if you choose to answer because the question is direct and safety related, you answer briefly, "Yes, I am lawfully carrying. It is on my right side." And stop. No speeches, no reaching, no jokes like, "Only the legal kind." People say dumb things under stress. Don't. Now imagine the other version. Same stop, same officer. But you answer like this. Yeah, I have my gun, but don't worry, I always carry. And I moved it earlier because my wife hates when I leave it there, and I think my permit is in my wallet, unless I left the old one in my truck." That is a mess. You turned one answer into 5 new questions. This is the part that shocked me when I first started seeing these cases play out. A lot of legal trouble starts not with bad intent, but with loose talking. People are not always arrested because they were dangerous. Sometimes they are investigated harder because they could not stop explaining. And there's one more trap. Friendly officers? Now, to be clear, many officers are professional and respectful. This is not about assuming every officer is out to get you. It is about understanding the setting. Even a polite officer is still gathering information. A smile does not change that. A calm voice does not change that. "Help me understand what's going on tonight" is still an invitation to speak against yourself. So what should you memorize? First, I don't answer questions. Second, I do not consent to searches. Third, if needed, I want a lawyer. Those are not magic spells. They are guardrails. They keep you from sliding into a bad conversation. And remember this contrast. Most people think the safest thing is to explain everything. But the truth is, the safest thing is often to explain less, comply with lawful commands, and save your full story for your lawyer. Have you ever wondered why people say, "I talked myself into trouble"? This is exactly how it happens. One open-ended question, one nervous answer, one extra detail. Then the stop changes. Don't make that mistake. This information could literally be different the next time your state changes its carry rules or disclosure laws. Subscribe now, because the next video breaks down exactly what to say when an officer asks to search your car, and what not to say if you want to protect yourself. So here's the takeaway. When police ask, "Is there anything I should know?" the safest default is not a long explanation. It is 4 calm words. "I don't answer questions." Then you comply with lawful commands. give required documents, follow your state's firearm disclosure rules, and keep your mouth from making your night worse. If this video helped you even a little, hit subscribe right now. I make these videos for regular people who want to stay safe, stay legal, and avoid preventable mistakes. And that matters, because one bad answer in one stressful moment can follow you for a very long time. Final, simple disclaimer. Laws are different in different states, and every stop is different. This video is for education only, not personal legal advice. If you deal with a real case, talk to a qualified attorney in your area.